Hey guys, Garvey here. Today, I'm talking about one of my favorite films, Eyes Wide Shut. This is the only Kubrick film I remember people not liking when it originally came out. This is common for most of Kubrick's films. We saw it with 2001, The Shining, and even Barry Lyndon. But Eyes Wide Shut is the only one I was around to see, which I always thought was strange because personally, I think it's Kubrick's best film. Well, it's either this or Barry Lyndon. I feel over the last few years, people have been turning back to this film and realizing that it has a lot more to offer than just what's at the surface, which is the case for most of Kubrick's films. So I thought it'd be a fun idea to go back to one of my favorite films and figure out why it's so impactful. So what's the film about? What's the crux of the narrative? Well, it seems to me that the film is asking, what's on everybody's mind? Throughout the entire film, it'll show people acting one way, but thinking completely differently in their head. This is seen with Bill when he thinks about his wife having sex with the officer. It's seen with the costume rental house owner when he freaks out at his daughter. But then he's totally calm the next day, as if nothing happened. This is shown most directly when we cut to Alice smiling with her daughter, but we hear what she was talking about the night before.
And there were all these other people around us. Hundreds of them everywhere. Everyone was fucking. And then I was fucking other men. So many. I don't know how many I was with.
However, this is most prominently shown with the two parties. The party at the beginning and the secret party. I think the secret party is the physical representation of what's on everybody's mind. No one is being coy like the Hungarian man. No one is using euphemisms like the two models. At the real party, people put on phony facades to have sex. Whereas at the secret party, they literally wear masks. Even the sex shown at the secret party is almost cartoonish. It doesn't seem real. It's very flamboyant and over the top. Bill's major conflict is dealing with this question. What are people thinking about? At the beginning of the film, he has a lot of trust in his wife. He feels very comfortable and powerful in the relationship. I think this is represented in a really interesting way with one of the shots. When they're smoking on the bed, you can see that they're covering one another's crotches, as if they own one another. This trust is destroyed after Bill realizes that Alice was once very open to the idea of having an affair. Up until this point, Bill not only had complete trust in his wife, but women in general. With his perspective on women completely changed, the conflict begins. He starts to question, how often do women have sex on their mind? The scene immediately after this, his suspicions are proven correct when the daughter of one of his patients tries to make sexual advances towards him. Her father just died, and all she can think about is hooking up with his doctor. There's more subtle versions of this as the film goes on. Just about every encounter Bill has with women in the film, they seem sexually interested, whether it's biting their lips or just generally acting flirty. Bill starts wondering how much of his life is about sex. Being a doctor, Bill seems to look at the naked body in a very medical way. He's very professional. But it's brought up several times in the film whether or not in the back of his mind he does have sexual thoughts about his patients, through dialogue and composition. For example, when he helps the overdose girl at the first party, in every shot you can see her breasts. They never cut to a close-up or obscure them in any way. Does this shot symbolize how maybe sex is on Bill's mind with his patients? Maybe, if only in a subconscious matter? This internal debate is externalized when he is approached by a prostitute. Will he remain faithful, or will he get back at his wife? He goes with the prostitute, but is quickly called by Alice. In the end, he decides not to cheat. This is another aspect of the film I find really interesting. It shows all the different ways sex is used in society. In the film, it can be seen as a coping mechanism, such as with the patient's daughter, as an ego boost when Alice spends more time looking in the mirror than at Bill. It's also used for monetary gain, shown by the prostitute, but also the costume house owner's daughter. It's also used as a tactic of shame, such as when they ask Bill to remove his clothes, or when Alice has her dream when she has sex with other men while laughing at Bill. It's really interesting how the film is able to show every use of sex in society. Like any good conflict, Bill's distrust expands from the micro to the macro. He goes to the secret party where they wear masks and speak in monotone voices, putting on facades to suit their needs. When Bill leaves the party, he tries to figure out what just happened. And we, the audience, go along for the ride because we're similarly dazed. Bill is told that his inquiries are useless and he should just give up. But Bill has a need to know. He must know what happened to his pianist friend and what happened to the woman who saved him. His searches make a deeper and deeper hole, and it all becomes more and more confusing. It's not until he speaks to the host of the original party, Victor. Victor tells Bill that his whole journey was a facade. They were just trying to scare him, so he wouldn't say anything. These masked facade people placed another facade on Bill. Now, whether or not it was a facade is left up to interpretation. It's whether you believe Victor or not. Either way, it doesn't really matter, because this takes us to the climax of the film. The macro and micro become one, when the mask Bill wore to the party is lying beside his wife. Bill is so shocked and disturbed, he tells Alice the whole story. Alice's response to the story is the answer to the film's questions.
There is something very important that we need to do as soon as possible.
What's that?
Fuck.
A lot of people hate this ending, but personally, I think it's perfect. Instead of spending all that time trying to figure out how much sex is on his mind or on other people's minds, it's better to just have sex. And this philosophy expands to every corner of life. Just do it and forget it. Life's far too complicated to connect all the dots and figure everything out, internally and externally. Alex explains this further when she says,
The reality of one night, let alone that of a whole lifetime, can ever be the whole truth.
This idea is strengthened even further when Bill says they'll stay awake forever. But Alice says she is frightened by the word forever and would rather just say for a long time to come. You can never plan out or know what's going to happen from now to the end of time. The best thing to do is live in the moment with the people around you and not overthink everything. Those are some of the things I really like about the film. Obviously, you can only cover so much in a 5-minute video, so there were a lot of things I left out. But I would love to hear what you guys like about Eyes Wide Shut. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, and feel free to click subscribe for more videos like this every Monday. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.